my sincere apologies. I'm not a very good slide sheet maker, so I'll just use this template, and I just try to embed everything over there only. So now what basically happens is, I'll start with why this session is important, rather than what exactly it is. I'll go after that. See, what when I joined this, I was late today, and when I joined, I heard in the first note that QA is dying, or those words basically. QA is dying, or there is no motivation in QA folks, or things are like that. Okay, whether so basically, what is the problem over here is, the problem is things are changing, and those are changing quite drastically. And um, why Databricks notebook is important, I'll come to that. But imagine like 12 years, or like 10 years from now, who would have imagined that you are in your bed and you order food, you order a vehicle to go to office, you traded, and you did some transactions, everything you did in like 5-10 minutes only, and you are in bed only. So that fast the world has changed. No one would have imagined that in last 5 years that have changed, like, which took around 25 to 30 years back. Okay, with that scale, and that scale will narrow down a bit. What will happen in next 2 years, we never know. I mean, it will be more, most of the things will be surprise. So now, with this context, I think it is very critical for all the QA community members to learn a lot, and they have to be very open minded. Things are changing, and changing for good, and this will continue to change. Now, having said that, data is a new oil, we say, right, these days. I mean, a new currency, and everything new is data, and data is increasing. We all know those stories, so I won't do a lot of attention to that, but all I summarize is it's critically important. Okay, so now, just to deal with this, Databricks, an organization came up with one unified platform. I mean, they PySpark is Spark is definitely the founders of it, and these days, I mean, almost all cloud-based applications are there, and everybody, if they are not there, then everybody moving there. Okay, so Databricks almost supports every major cloud vendor, Azure, Google, or AWS, and if there are more, I'm sure they have support for Databricks, or vice versa as well. So basically, imagine there is a there's a lot of data as pieces of puzzle, and Databricks is the solution, or maybe the person, as a person who will be solving those puzzles. Okay, that's the Databricks. It's in a nutshell when I wanted to talk about it. So um, so I was given with the one problem statement that there were some migrations which were going on from the cloud to the cloud-based system, from the local systems or on-prem systems. So over there we were having a lot of data, and having a lot of migration which was happening, and everything was moving to notebooks approach. Notebooks, we all know, like, if you don't know, then that's okay. I'll talk for a few seconds about it as well. But everything was changing from basic Python to notebooks and everything, and I was as good as leading that team, and wherein um, being a QA person, although I'm a lot experimenting with my skills, I mean, always, but in that particular scenario, I was not the QA to be honest, but being QA by nature, or from the start, I was the QA. So my thoughts were always on, okay, we are delivering something, but how we are going to test it. Okay, that was my first step, and I did a lot of research. I spoke to many people, um, and in fact, we were that close that, okay, we were open up who can help us to QA this. And after a lot of research and googling, and everything, I was not able to find a proper solution. So this particular session is all about the hacks which we did. Again, it is not a fully fledged solution, but there are hardly any solutions. So I would say, um, there are solutions, but those are bits and pieces. In bits and pieces you cannot do anything, most of the things. But over here we I was working, researching on this, and I tried to do a lot of research on there and on that aspect, and try to find out a way wherein we can perform certain, and we can inject some of the testing frameworks over there. So having said that, this is the background of this, and the outcome would be, do research, everything, keep as a Q person, always be there and always be open minded. Okay, so now coming back to this, Databricks again, it's a unified solution, which is, written already here. I'm just highlighting the key points. It's a unified platform, which means that you can do everything from machine learning to AI, SQL, data lakes, everything you will find at one place. That's how it is. Spark integration, obviously, the creators. It is being founded by the creators of Apache Spark. So the basic idea is that only. And collaborative, yeah, multiple people can work at the same point of time, okay, in a single notebook as well. So it's that we will see that, it's that collaborative. As I said, machine learning AI, everybody is talking about machine learning AI, everybody is moving there. So this platform provides you that liberty to work on that. Okay, cloud base I talked about. Data integration, definitely, it supports, it facilitates a lot of types of data which it can gather. It has a lot of um, data lakes, and all the data storage ETL ways to do the data integration, or those aspects of it. Security and compliance, again, there are certain features of it which Databricks provides. So I'm not going to talk a lot on that, but you guys can uh, read about it. um, okay, let me just so Databricks, basically, what are the use cases of the Databricks? Again, data processing, data warehousing, machine learning, real-time analytics, data pipeline, data exploration and analysis. So basically, when there is a large data, I think you must go to Databricks, no matter which cloud solution you are going ahead with. Okay, so again, now coming back to the main problem. So what are the challenges which one face while testing the Databricks notebook? So again, this is not a plain Python code. Okay, so if the people who know about Python, it .py files. Okay, and if I tell you we have some code in Python, you will definitely use PyTest and you will test them. Okay, but now the challenge comes over here that because Databricks notebook have interactive context. I mean interactive as in you can put everything in a cell and it will give you the output. Okay, just like that, running uh, interactive cell, and so it's interactive. It is statefulness. I mean, those who know about REST API as well, just relate, you can relate that. So they, uh, although they maintain state across the cells, but their state may change at any given point because they are interactive in nature. Okay, and there is a dependency management as well. I mean, one cell is depend could be or could not be, but dependent on another cell. So this is key important. Again, coming to test discovery. I mean, let's assume that you want to use PyTest. So how PyTest basically works is, to discover the test within your framework, or your file folder system. Okay, file system. But over here you cannot do that because it's a cell based, right? Notebook has cells which Python is not going to discover. And error handling is not as straightforward as basic Python scripts. I mean, a lot of complications. Now I'll tell you that, okay, um, even though if you are able to test somehow, but parameterize that, or fixtures, I mean, do some pre-test, post-test, or some variables assignment and everything, it's likely impossible. Okay, in there. So these are the challenges, and I'm sure those who know might know about this, but those who don't know, they can read and they are going to find out. Okay, and again, there are certain points which I just highlighted, that what are the problems over there again. And so over here what we are using is using PySpark and PyTest as two tools. Okay, PySpark is basically Apache Spark's an open source distributed computing system which handles large data and distributed processing as well, which allows it to handle the large data set. So these are the just features of it, and I wouldn't go through it in a nutshell in detail. But yeah, but again, just to address this, we are going to use one framework, Chispa. It's called as Chispa. It is the creator is Matthew Powers, and I have taken full permission from him as well while using this and showcasing this. So I was talking with him, and so basically, what happens in a data frame, let's say in PySpark, um, row and columns are, I mean, insensitive in terms of like they distribute. Imagine a large data set you distribute in 1000 rows in 10 different clusters of 100 rows. Over here the row and column order will be, definitely out of sequence. um, Null and NaN values, those handling, again, I mean, this framework provides a way to handle that schema validation, and reports are there, readable error message, and numeric comparisons. Like for example, maybe you have, let's say, this a threshold of 90%. Okay, so you can give 10% as a numeric approximation, and you perform the comparison. Okay, so yeah, I'll now I'll go back to sorry, I'll come back here to um, the um, one second. Yeah. Can you see my screen now? I'm sharing the browser because
Yes. Yeah, we can see.
yeah. Okay. So this is Databricks. I'm using the Databricks Community Edition. Obviously, I don't have that much money to host it at home, but I do use it for my official work as well. Okay. So this is the Databricks community version, wherein you see, again, all the features are not available here, but workspace is in where, you basically you have two filters. One is machine learning and data science. Again, there are more like data and all many things which you will see in a full-fledged Databricks version. But over here it show you two, and they very limited capacity. In workspace, you can have multiple users. I was talking about the interactivity. So here you can have collaborativeness. Sorry, not interactive, collaborativeness. So you can have multiple users over here, which will fall here, and we can work as per the sharing basis. Okay, the some of the problems in community edition, like permissions, there's an issue with permission. So that's why I mean, for now at least, I'm just working with one user. um, and data, basically over here you can create tables, you can load data, you can connect to any database file systems, um, just to work on it. Compute is something special. Compute is the computation power. Okay, which basically, let's assume that you want to have two cores, 15 GB active memory, which I'm using one of them. DBU is Databricks unit, power unit. Okay, you can say, in terms of how many, what do you call it? Maybe just to simplify it, you can call it RAM. Okay, so it uses that. More you use, more you pay. That kind of a system it has. So you have to create a compute basically just to work on it, so that where it runs your jobs and everything. Okay, and this is the job compute. Again, if you want to run for a specific job, you can do that. Okay, I'm not going to talk a lot about that as well. Workflows, I mean, over here you can create your pipelines, and let's say, I'll just give you one example, that your pipeline says, from one data source copy the data and paste it to other data source by modifying some of the, let's say, salary column, or maybe the date changes and all those things. Okay, in the community edition, There are limited features, so I'm going to talk you through about that only at this point of time, but the main agenda is how we are going to test it. Okay. So any questions so far, I'm happy to answer. I mean, I'm not able to read the chat, so you can bug me in between, okay, if you want. But I'll come back over here again. So basically, I would like to things keep things very simple, and that's how you should do as well. I think when you are working on something new, so it's a very small framework in terms of its simplicity, okay, and you can scale it as you want. So what I did was I just created a folder with a name notebook. Over here I'm just keeping my things which I need, okay, and I have two folders. Again, I mean, you can have as many things you want. um, Now QA is something wherein I have just created a notebook, which is runner underscore test, or whatever you name it you want to, okay, the way you want to. And I have created one folder wherein I have those tests in Python file. As I said, I mean, you cannot directly inject here, but the whole idea is how we are going to do it in a way that we full Databricks to run it, okay. That's the whole idea of this particular session. Okay, I will just collapse this. Maybe that helps. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So it should go now. Yeah. So basically, how it works, I'll tell you. Um, so DB utils. So DB utils is one of the key function of Databricks, wherein all the features like file system, all the methods, any help document or file system access, or restarting Python, or performing any, it's kind of a library wherein the util functions remain, okay, which is created by Databricks, and it's very key part of Databricks, okay. Do read about it whenever you get time. But so now, just to before that, I let me show you some of the tests which, let's say, we will be running. Okay, so let's assume that we have these tests, okay, and now I'll explain those as well. Okay, so now I'm just using PyTest, as I said, and the Chispa library, which is I'm importing, and I'm just initializing the PySpark session over here. Created a method wherein I'm going to clean the um, some of the columns, okay, with regular expressions. Those are part of test only, but these are callable, okay. And I'm importing one Spark session. I've just named my Spark session as Spark testing. Okay. And once I create this session, so for example, let's say you have, this is just a sample data. Let's say you have a lot of data in so you create a data frame, Spark data frame, out of that data. Okay. And with this chipsa library, I'm going to just simply call asset column equality. Okay, so over here we are, so we have, let's say, two data frames, out of which I'm going to check the column equality of it. Okay, this is one test. Second test I would be performing like, and apart from this you can keep more tests as you want. um, Again, this is, I think this is only related to column equality, the second one as well, but yeah, as a data frame equality. So data frame is, as I said, I mean, having whole data into it, maybe a large set as well. So this method is going to help us to verify that whether two data frames are equal or not. I mean, let's say one thing is on prem and we migrated to the cloud. Now we want to check whether the migration has successfully done or not. So these are the methods. If you go into this library, you will read more about it. It's available at GitHub. I'll give you the link as well if you need. But yeah, so these are the few tests only I have just incorporated. And apart from that, these are just sample tests. And let me see here. Yeah, again, over here as well, I have just created a couple of more tests wherein, I'm just testing the equality. So over here, some of the methods like ignore row order is equal to true. So you can set those methods. And if you want to raise some schema not equal error, but let's assume that your schema level name changed, but schemas changed, but you still want to validate the data as well. So with this, I think you can go ahead with certain methods just like this. Okay, so now these how we are going to schedule our or we can keep our methods over here. We can create n number of py files .py files and keep our code so that you don't have to learn a lot. You, if you know Python, you will be able to do this quite easily. Okay, now how PyTest works is basically whatever is in the test folder which falls as underscore test. Okay, it reads it, or maybe test underscore, however you want to call it, test underscore. So all the methods with this name, if I remove this test, and then it is not going to recognize this particular method. This is one of the feature of PyTest. Okay, so these are the two files which I'm keeping here, wherein my test will reside. And now because I cannot directly inject over here, so I'll be doing some of the hacks um, which would be able to help me read these particular Python files. Okay, so if you have any question, please shout out. Okay. um, dbutils I talked about. Dbutil library, from here I'm restarting the Python. Okay, this is one of the um, I would say important point, um, because we are just trying to fool it in a way that there is um, there is no pre-state of it. Okay, so that it does not go in any other direction. So we are just and we want all of the libraries which are at the moment present, we want to take that into effect. So we are just restarting the Python over here. The necessary imports, I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. Now I am at I am at certain path. Okay, if I expand this, then one second, sorry. Yeah, so in the workspace I am at certain path. Okay, now over here in this particular path, what I am I don't know if I can do this. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So over here, I'm telling this notebook to get the path, and from this path, calculate the root directory. Okay, where we reside, where's our workspace. So this is our workspace. Okay, out of which I'm just printing my whether I'm at the right uh, stage or not. Okay. Now this was one key aspect. Okay, and this is another key aspect. One of the key aspect is um, th- this is one of the hack, you can say, system dot don't write bytecode. So now what happens in py file, it generate the bytecode files which are .pyc files. Okay, now we intentionally prevent to do that. Okay, so that um, the interactive files is, because this is an interactive file system and sometimes it could be read only, you may not have access for all Databricks as an admin or something like that. Okay, so we are just intentionally not creating any bytecode files. Okay, and now this is one of the key aspects to run the test over here. I'm just creating a variable, red code variable, which is calling pytest.main method, and I'm just passing one parameter which will generate the test report out of it as well. This test report is a basic Python PyTest HTML report, which is installed on this cluster. Okay, I'll tell you how to install libraries on the cluster as well if nothing is available over there. Okay, now if you don't want to if you don't want to create uh, a report, then probably you go and simply run this, and it will run for other test cases. Going on, I'm just setting this variable to testing whether I'm this variable 0. If this is equal to 0, that means all the tests are passed, and this notebook would be successful. Now one limitation, but I'm going to overcome that uh, and show you the execution. One limitation is, as I said, the permissions are not allowed. So this notebook will not be able to read this file in the community edition, but if you have the full paged edition, when you run this, but again, when you run any notebook, you need to attach this to the cluster. So remember, I mean, from the compute, we have one cluster which I am just attaching this with this, and given PyTest, Databricks has a lot of libraries to work with, or any languages. More, it's like, so like these are the languages you can use. Markdown is simply writing up some notes around that part. You can say in very simple terms. Python and SQL, Scala are, so for now we are just focusing on Python. So that's why it's Python there. You can run cell by cell. That's how the interactiveness and statefulness comes into picture. When I run this, I'm just running the cell. Okay, you can run above, beyond, and however. Okay, so see, this command is running now. It took 3 point whatever time, and then probably on which cluster and everything. It creates logs over here. You can provide comments for other users. um, you can see the versioning history. As I said, I mean, too many people can work at any point of time. You can go and check that part. ML for experiment, let's not talk about that. And then I'll just simply import this. You can run all of them as well using this. But so I'm just sorry, I just by mistake clicked on here. Okay, so this, I'll just run this cell again. It will perform. So it has no module test PyTest. Okay, no module name. I just created this cluster now, so that's why it is giving this error. Let's go to compute and let's install PyTest. I'll tell you how to install. That's why I think I have not done it so far. But over here, and whenever you created the cluster, you can create from these um, widgets. Okay, so now for to this cluster there is one notebook which is attached, which we saw. Okay, runner underscore test, and this is the configuration of that particular Databricks notebook. um, and apart from that, you can dig more. I mean, these are just the versions. These are keep on changing. When you have full fledged solution, you will see in this a drop down, you will find a lot of them. In community edition you may not find, because that's how it works. And they don't give everything. 15 GB memory as a community edition. Okay, and this will terminate after 1 or 2 hours. So if you don't, it's an idle state, it will terminate because it's consuming their uh, and serverless. What is serverless means? They have some computation power. Because we are using community edition, let's assume I am using it now, but there are high chances I'm going to use it for some time only, and then it would be idle state. So whoever, I mean, randomly, if somebody else is using community edition, it will transfer to that. So that's how the serverless nature of this works. And when you come to libraries, you can install from here. Okay, so now we don't have the PyTest. I mean, there are multiple ways to install libraries from the Databricks file system. Now, what is Databricks file system? This Databricks give you a file system just like our Windows or Linux machine, or wherein you can keep your jar files, .py files, or the Python libraries. You can just import from here, and it will install on this cluster. You provide the file path. Okay, from here, if it is on your local machine, you provide the file path, but you need to mention what file you are giving. Okay, PyPy, I think it's a package installer for Python, which is the simplest way, which is most used. So I'll just simply write PyTest over here, and it's as simple as that. I'll clicking the install button. Okay, so it will install in a bit depending upon the internet connectivity. And let's assume that I'll talk more about here. Maven and Cran and workspace, there are multiple ways to, or you can drop the jars or whatever here over here. Okay, that's how it works. Can you see in the background the status is green? I mean, it is already installed. So now this is not going to give us um, the error for sure which it gave earlier. Okay, there could be another error because I don't have any libraries installed at this point of time, but let's see. Okay, so I'm going back to this runner test. Yeah. So now when I run this, I think it should import successfully. System and OS are the by default Python things, so they are going to definitely work. This is something external dependency which we just now installed, and I think you can see there is no error as such. Now I'll run the main command, which is a kind of hack which is going to call our methods. Let me run this. This is going to fail because we are using a community edition, but I'll show you in local Jupyter notebooks, because because notebooks are like it is again using the Jupyter notebook as well, but they have just modified it. Okay, see, it failed because it says no such directory under this, but we can see there is test folder and there are test files, but because of the permissions, if you go over here, the permissions will always be disabled. Okay, in this case you cannot do that, but we'll do it. Okay, don't worry about it, but that's how it works. And also one more point, I executed on a machine where I had a lot of computation power on it. So I'll just show you one screenshot how the output looks like. Okay, so it runs, it creates Spark jobs. In the slide you can see there were 7 tests, so 7 jobs were created. And over here you will see the, I mean, just took one screenshot. It was a very much detailed log file. Okay, which was under the cell only. You can read on the UI, but that's how it says. It has some expected data and which I showed you in that file. And then two failed and three passed. Two failed were intentionally fails, which I just wanted to demo. But unfortunately, because of this permission issue, I was not able to run it. But we will do it in our notebook. Okay, so that's how it will look like. And again, as I said, I mean, um, I was able to create one report out of it as well. So you can see this is the report wherein I executed the six test cases. This is one of the report, not that one, 2 and 3, but one passed, 5 failed. There's a PyTest interactive report. Okay, for which I installed the library on the cluster itself. And if you navigate through, you will find contained a detailed log over here, but you can do that as well. If you run more, if you read more, you will find that. Okay, so these were some of the errors which I got. Okay, and I would recommend you to read. So over here, assertion failed because 5 and 6, something like that. Okay, tuple index. So basically, some of them has less number of records, and the script was asking for more, something like that. But yeah, the whole idea is how it looks like. You can explore more around that part. And again, so this is the report it generates. Okay, and where I'm providing the details of the report, let me tell you that as well. So over here I'm just providing one of the key values over here, that I want a report in report folder. Okay, it after running, it creates a report folder over here, and in that it generates the report. That's how it works in a nutshell. Let's go and do a practical hands-on session. So over here I am working on Jupyter Notebook. Again, this free of cost. You can install on your local machine as well. So over here, I have created one runner test file similar to one which was there. Okay, now this is executed. Let me just when you press shift enter, it will be in the running mode. If it is star over there, it's still running. If there is no output, because we don't expect output from imports, again, dbutils I have commented, because dbutil is part of Databricks only, it won't work here anyway. So um, so that's how it, because I started Python just now, I'm just don't need the restart Python over there. Okay, if you want this, you can you can run the command, magic command in the notebook. Now from in any notebook, if you want to call another notebook, so over here I have created one more notebook. Okay, notebook one, just to showcase that how it gets called. Some of the very basic examples are there. Okay, that how a data frame is imported and created over here. It's interactive, right? As I said, so it generates a cell-based output, and it has statefulness. So So I'm just calling this. When I execute this command, it will give me the output of each and every cell which was executed over there. You can see I just showed you that. Now I am just hard coding the values over here, but yeah, this is how you not do it, but you can get the current working directory, and from there you can tell the path. So I'm giving the if you recall, I over here I gave the um, repo path. Okay, after this again using the db util. I don't have db util over here, so you can use get current working directory, os.get current working directory, and so I am over here now. um, Let me run this again just to showcase. Okay, so after it runs, I have created certain test as almost similar to that one, and I'll run this cell. So it will give us the proper output now. Okay, we'll see the output again. So over here it's just going line by line, and see it is giving me that those errors which probably got there. Okay, um, it run for the assertion failures and all those things. Let's add some more test and rerun it. Okay, um, let me go to the folder structure. um, I am hopeful that this is also visible to you, and I have certain methods which I explicitly kept in one of the notepad files just to showcase. Over here, I am just going over here in the notebooks folder, and in test, I have that test first suite file. Okay, so let's create another file um, over here, and let's name it as test underscore, because it reads test only, right? Test underscore, let's say the second suite. Okay, again, let me add it and then I'll change it to py file. Yeah, it is taking a little bit time. Okay, I have added this. I'm not sure if the new screen is visible, but I'm just saving it. Okay, so I've just created a new suite file where there some of the PyTest things are available. Let me rename to dot py file. Okay, now it is as good as to ready to execute. Okay, let me open this in notepad plus plus so that I can show you what are the tests which it is going to run. Very basic tests are there, but just to understand. Okay, over here I have just created some tests. Okay, some of the basic assertions just to showcase. And as I said, I mean, over here we are setting up the fixture, like this will be my let's say you are running test ng, right, in which you or maybe any test runner wherein you provide the global variables for those tests. Okay, oh, so this is something like that. So let me save it once again just in case, and let me rerun this. Okay, so you can see now it collected the 7 items. Previously there were 5 items, so, 4 items, and then it is running all of them through. And in some of the cases when it does not find any library or something goes, um, so those something goes bad. So those are the error methods, error messages you can read out. Total fail is one of the message which it gives when something um, I mean, this is how it has been configured for now. And when I go back over here and when I open this, sorry, my bad. When I open here, when I open this, you can see there is a basic report just now, like output.json at 306 it got created. In archive there's a folder created, and wherein some of the previous codes are available. Okay, let me open this file, and it will show you possibly the latest results. um, okay, yeah, so there was, I think, um, No, I think this is something the previous report still not override it. I think because it was already open in the browser, so it didn't override. But yeah, that's the overall point. Okay, and so this is the archives. It created archive folder. We already saw that, and it keeps the record as we proceed. Okay. Um, and with this, I think this was it. I just wanted to showcase, and I wanted to walk you through, guys. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer. Again, my Zoom is hanged, so I don't know um, why it is not opening up, but or maybe I'm doing something wrong with that. But anyway, so that's about it. If you guys have any questions, I am happy to answer that.
So guys, any questions for Tony?
I think there was one earlier question which was posted in chat. So what? Maybe Tony can have a look.
Okay, what was that? Okay, I'm just opening up the chat as well. Yeah, so basically, there was a question, I believe, from like terminology, data break, data lakes, data warehouse. Okay, so let me answer that. So basically, what is Databricks is basically a unified solution. It is a name given by the organization or maybe to an organization, which gives a full-fledged solution for almost all data related stuff. Okay, which we do. Um, Let me take this data frames now. Okay, data frames is in Python. Basically, there are a few libraries like pandas and what you call Spark. So imagine there is a an Excel sheet. Okay, in Excel sheet or an SQL table. Okay, um, this is the grid. Okay, SQL table grid, which I'm just answering this in a simpler way. Okay, just imagine like that. So data frame is a tabular structure wherein you can keep rows and column based data, and it the capacity is too large as compared to Excel sheets. In Pandas data frame, it is I could say mid level, but in Spark data frames, it is a very larger scale. I mean, the data which normally one cannot handle. Okay, so and that's how it is. A data lake is basically a centralized report repository, okay, which is designed to have structured unstructured data. So imagine something, imagine a simple lake wherein you throw every kind of water, dirty water, clean water, salty water, etc., but it stores over there with the density of the water. You can recognize, okay, this was oily data, oily water, and this was, so just like that, structured data, unstructured data, um, and it is in a secure way. So Delta Lake is basically a overall big centralized repository which which keeps track of what you call data, and different shades and grades of data. Coming to data warehouse, basically data warehouse is something wherein we definitely keep all of our data, but there's a marginal difference between data lakes and data warehouse. um, Data lakes much keep real data, but in data warehouse we modify the data as per our need. Data lake has raw data, but once we process that raw data, we usually keep in data warehouse. And um, data lake is something called as extract, load, and transform. So basically, first extract the data, load it, and then transform it. But in data warehouse, we do extract the data, then transform, and then load it. So basically, there are two ways to look at it. Um, and it Data warehouse provides more computation power and high performance, because lake is only for storing the data, but processing the data can be done on data warehouse. Okay, I mean, just a few terminologies differences. I mean, I just gave a few examples of it. um, yeah, but how, in a nutshell, it is just like that.
I think very well explained. Thank you so much. So we were talking about the community edition, and also I've
Yes.
now realized that it has been added to Azure as well.
Yes.
So how does the costing vary basically? What are the costing parameters that one should be aware of?
um See, costing is a very complicated task. I mean, they do design in such a way that you have to always pay high. I feel so. But
Yeah,
see what, but comparatively costing is very much cheaper compared to what we had like 10 years back. you know Imagine if you want to scale up something for, let's say, I would say 100 GB processor. Okay, just giving one random example. Then you have to buy more RAM, or you have to do a setup wherein you have parallel computers which are supporting that. So imagine that much cost would have been very high. Okay, so now but these days, computation power is not only scale horizontally but vertically as well. So more computation power, more money goes there. We already saw in this session 15 GB was RAM. I mean, they are giving only for 1 or 2 hours, and that's for practice only, and you can't do a lot of things with that. But if you buy that, I think if you increase the memory to 15 to 30, it will exponentially increase the, I mean, it will increase the price a lot over there. So pricing is only, I think, for two major things. One is your data storages, and other is processing. If we want to minimize our pricing over here, I think one must go for serverless solutions. Like, for example, I'll be using like 100 GB of RAM, but keep it like that, that whenever I am using, I'll be using that time only. I mean, leave it aside. I don't want to create a specific house for me, which will always keep um, the processing power, or the data uh, you know stages for me available always. So just like that, you can play smartly. But I think it's these are the two things which definitely um, comes at a very high cost, uh, not compared to what we used to have, but reasonable enough. But still, I mean, for individual it is very difficult to manage. I mean, it's good for organizations at large scale.
right. Thank you so much for answering that. Anyways, it's a very interesting tool that you showcase to us. Many a times we don't
See,
even hear that. Yeah,
yeah, see, Aditya, I think that's what my point was. If you heard me well in the start of the session, I think there are two to three things. I would say, okay, one is QA is gone are those days. I mean, not actually gone, but very soon. Okay, it's on verge of it. Very soon, people will realize API automation, UI automation, RPA, all those things do matter, but this will become a basic skill for everybody. Okay, just to add there. um, so so these things, I mean, this may not be the time I mean, these testing these tools would be at, is it's at peak, but very soon, I mean, I must say that within next few years, it will be as good as testing using Selenium. Okay, it will come to that level. I'm 100% sure, because that's how the technological landscape is changing around us. And even I don't see many questions over here. So that's how, um,
yeah, yeah. Correct.
if I see it, I can see it in two ways. Okay, I may be wrong, or maybe I'm very harsh, but I see it two ways. One is the eagerness, okay, which we need from people, and other thing is, I mean, eagerness, or maybe you can say that, okay, whenever it come, we'll see. But that's one point to I mean, tell it. The other point is, there is hardly any awareness. Okay, either there There are only 2 points.
I think it is about the awareness, Tony. It's more than
Okay.
anything else.
Yes.
It's more
Yes.
than, like, for
But
example, the kind of technology that you are speaking about. Many of the people
never heard of.
probably need to never heard of. So, for example,
Yes.
when we talk about the entire topic that we are talking about the entire spectrum of data. Basically, we're talking about everything. Plus, we are talking about PySpark, which is large amount of data, and then we're talking about something which is generative AI and using data engineering to assimilate and process the data. So this is where it's a very interesting, far-fetched, far future, I would say. And as you rightly said, it is something which is going to move very, very fast. And to even know about that, and even to have somebody like you speak on that, speaks volume about the conference that we have. That look, this is where the world of the entire development and QA is moving towards. So it's amazing to know what you are doing, and it's amazing to understand where we are with respect to the entire data engineering side of things, right? So it's just amazing. I was going through it. It's just pure awareness at this point that maybe this is the first time that a lot of people would have heard these many things all together in one topic. So, but yes, going forward, when they again go back and understand, yes, maybe this is what you were talking about. So that's where lack of questions are. That's what my perception is, Tony.
Yeah, yeah, that is, and that's right too. But all I want from everybody, at least see, we belong to same community. Okay.
Yeah,
So my just one humble request. Okay, it's not something beyond that, but my request would be, see, imagine, as I said, I mean, just re-quoting what I said earlier. Imagine now Selenium or Playwright or whichever tool take. Okay, just don't wait for the time that these things will come, will replace them. And so replace in terms of the CV. Okay, in terms of the CV. So for example, today you say, somebody says, okay, I'm using Selenium with Java or Python. Okay, okay, for a better pay, or maybe for a better job or better opportunities. Okay, in their CV it shines, in a nutshell, if I summarize that. But don't wait for that time that those will become unrealistic. Okay, those won't shine anymore. Those would be your, like basic things. It will fall under basic things, right? Imagine there was a time wherein using computer was a shining part of the jobs, but all of a sudden, or Excel sheet as well. So all of a sudden it became a very basic. Everybody will is not going to ask you whether you know how to run a computer or Excel sheet or not,
yeah,
but they want you to know it. Okay, because they don't question it, but there is a unconscious bias to it, that okay, everybody will be knowing it. But what if somebody who just cleared the engineering but still don't know? Okay, imagine life of that person. So uh, this, I'm just giving you one terminology. I may be completely wrong, and I um, I expect I'm wrong, but I may be wrong. But all I want to say is, don't wait for the um, the time where reality changes, and we don't know about what is going on. And we all saw. I mean, uh, we are all seeing around us. Okay, in this conference as well, many people talked about AI. Okay, so now you will be using. Everybody is talking about using AI, and understanding more about it. But just give it a thought that, okay, if AI is there, there are a lot of uh, senseless or sense-based talks are there, that AI will replace the jobs and the people. Okay, but my point is, um, even if AI is doing something right now as well, okay, but then one should have that power to challenge that as well. Okay, somebody talked about AI hallucination earlier when I joined. That how would you say that um, uh, this is right answer or right response or not? But I'm 100% sure that uh, nobody would have tried to understood from a technical front, that how, I'm not saying nobody, but close to nobody. Okay, but how we can test it from a technical perspective of it. Okay, testing it manually not may not be possible. Okay, with a blink of eye, ChatGPT will generate hundreds lines of code or whatever, okay, in front of you. And at the end of the day, if you spend a lot of time to realize that what it generated is out of context, I don't need it, it is not incorrect but not right for me either, okay. So considering those aspects, how we are going to test this, I am sure the team who have used created chat gpt on all those things, they have used data centers some one way or another, they are dealing with data only. And these Databricks notebook, Azure, and all those things. I mean, I just wanted to showcase one topic, even though I'm working on in the background around too many aspects of it. But that's how I think I just wanted to summarize that. Uh, do learn more. Keep an eye on what is coming up, what is going out, and be in. It's a race
Yes.
anyway, right? So
Yeah,
be
yeah. No,
there.
no, Tony, we understand. In
Just
fact,
don't get out of it.
these conferences at least help people to know what is going around, and to, even if it is some of these advanced topics that we are bringing to the conference, it is something that they will basically get aware. So I would like to applaud on what you have achieved and what you are sharing with us. It was amazing session, Tony. Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed and I loved whatever you talked about. And there are many,
Sure.
many maybe like me there who at least are aware, and there are many who want to make themselves aware. And there are so many people who just want to make sure that they learn new things. And everybody who is participating in this conference, at least I can applaud them and tell that yes, the main idea behind attending these kind of conferences is to know what's going on in our area, and to at least get to know something which is some of the cutting edge technologies that people are talking about and working upon. So in that aspect, I would recommend that everybody should at least listen to this talk again whenever we share the content, learn from whatever Tony has talked about. And on that note, I would like to really thank you, Tony, for a wonderful session and the time that you spent with us and shared this cutting edge technology from your arsenal. And we would love to hear more and more as time progresses. Maybe we can have more sessions from you going forward. Really appreciate what you have done. Thank you so much, Tony.
Sure, Aditya. I am sorry for those who, couldn't ask more questions because of any reason. I wanted more questions over there, but anyways,
I can understand.
next
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
yeah.
that's okay. But we will be more prepared. Maybe we can have more prima facie sessions, and then we can go more on it. So, but I loved it, and I'm sure there are many people who loved it. Very, very helpful, as what people are saying.
Sure,
Very,
sure,
very.
Aditya.
Thank you so
Sure,
much, Tony.
Aditya. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to make some awareness that if there is
Yes,
no attention, then please bring some attention because it's about our bread and butter, right? So,
right,
yeah.
right.
Thank
No,
you,
no.
Aditya.
Thank you so much.
I'll yeah rest my case then. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.